Let's get a couple of the terms out of the way. Precision teaching.
Yeah, it's a measurement system. It's just a very elegant way to measure whether or not your teaching works.
Yeah, well, that's A, B, C, D, E, and the big F.
No, exactly not. It isn't. Those are descriptors. That's not data. Talking at 200 words a minute, reading at 300 words a minute without making more than a couple of errors is data. A is your impression of my behavior.
So you track this on a monthly basis?
No, a daily basis.
So every day you're measuring what I'm doing in your classroom.
Well, in an emergency ward, they measure by the minute if you're seriously enough hurt, and they measure a lot of different things. And the more dangerous the situation, the more measurements you get. That's the exact opposite of what happens in education. With education, the more trouble the child is in, the less likely there is to be any kind of frequent measurement. So we're simply looking at it more like a doctor would and saying, this child's in trouble. We need more and more information to find out what is working and whether or not the condition is changing.
There are a lot of fads in education.
There are mostly all fads in education.
So, Mr. Maloney, what's the difference between what you're doing and the latest bandwagon? How do we know that it's... How can I, as a teacher, how can I tell the difference?
I've got the data. I've got 30 years of hard empirical research that demonstrates with 120,000 children that direct instruction works where other things don't, where behavior analysis and behavior modification in classrooms work where other things fail, where precision teaching produces results which you don't get with other programs. So each one of them has a rich empirical data-based history that says this actually gets results. And taken together, they're a powerful synergy.
Take me into your classroom. How does it look different? How does it operate differently from an ordinary classroom?
It doesn't look that different. My kids sit in their desks like many other kids, but they have 5 basic rules by which we run the classroom, which say work quickly and quietly, raise your hand to address the class, bring all of your materials, keep your hands and your feet to yourself, say only good things. And we systematically reinforce people who follow those 5 classroom rules, and we are willing to withhold the reinforcement from kids who don't. And each day you would see the students in groups working with a teacher on specific curriculum, reading, writing, spelling, math, in very structured situations with lessons that are carefully scripted, and the teacher and the students know everything that's coming and everything that's been. And the scope and the sequence of the program is known to everybody, and we all know what's going to happen by the end. And then we would measure each day several critical pinpoints to see how our teaching is working. And the students would actually take their own measures and chart them, and they would live by a rule that if they didn't see any progress in 2 or 3 days, they'd bring that particular chart to the teacher and ask for some help.
Here's my only beef with what you're doing. Is it possible that you'll end up with kids who are really smart at making the lines in the graph move and are more worried about figuring out how to beat your system than actually learning?
You can't beat the system, because if you move the dot above where it should have been, tomorrow, to get it to move again, you got to cheat even bigger. And before long, I'm going to ask you to show me exactly how you did that, because I'm going to be very impressed with your performance. And that's when the rubber hits the road. The kids do that initially, and it always turns out to be a charting error. And they always turn out to try it again and say, gee, I must have put that down wrong. And we say, fine, that's not a problem, but let's see where we're going from here.
This is all annoyingly simple.
It's elegant. It is simple, but it's powerful.
So why aren't we doing it? Who's standing there, not letting you go ahead with this?
Educators in places like the Ministry of Education who don't happen to subscribe to this philosophy of education, and who are in the positions of dictating what periodicals or textbooks are on Circular 14, or who are advising the minister, or who are making the policies and the regulations which affect the school boards.
how are they going to hide from this?
Oh, they've been very successfully hiding from it for at least 25 years. Change will come when enough people know what works and start to demand it.
If you want to find out more about this system, you can pick up a copy of Teach Your Children Well, a solution to some of North America's educational problems. I've been speaking with the author Michael Maloney, and Teach Your Children Well, published by the Cambridge Centre for Behavioral Studies.